Hey guys, Footy Focus Podcast, episode 12. How you going, Sheds?
Yeah, good. How are you, Nax?
Yeah, good. We're going to talk about the Adam Goodes doco like we promised. So we'll do that, and then we've got a few game reviews. Don's win over the Crows and GWS's thrashing of the Pies.
Good, yeah.
So we'll kick off with Adam Goodes. So who is Adam Goodes?
Yeah, so we might do a little bit of an intro to for people that listen to this that don't really follow AFL that closely. So Adam Goodes is an ex-Indigenous footballer for the Swans. He was 4-time All-Australian, which is like saying you were in the 22 best players of the year. So he was that 4 times. He won 3 Best and Fairest, a Rising Star winner, and also Australian of the Year 2014 for his off-field stuff.
He won the Brownlow twice. One as a ruckman, one as a midfielder too. So it probably just shows his greatness
2
as a footballer.
premierships, which is what every player aims to achieve, and also the games record holder for the Swans, 372 games.
Okay. A lot of achievements.
Yeah, any memories of him dominating?
Yeah, so as a Port supporter, so we were the minor premier, I think it was 2003, so he won V4 playing the Swans at home. So that was a year where we had Matty Primus, he was probably the best tap ruckman in the comp. But yeah, Adam Goodes was playing in the ruck that day and he just ran all over him. There was no match-up in the comp.
Yeah, he's one of those big-bodied, 192 centimetres and athletic.
Can run all day,
yeah. And he used to play in the ruck, like you said. But
yeah, but you couldn't tag him because there's no ruckman in the comp that could keep up with him. Even Cox back in the day, and there's no tagger that was tall enough to, I guess, go with him. So
he was one of the genuine superstars of the competition.
Yeah.
So this week on Channel 10, they aired a documentary called The Final Quarter. So it analysed who he was and the booing and his pretty much demise as a footballer. Yeah. And sort of, pointed the finger at the AFL public and...
Yeah, a few commentators that went probably too far and the fans that obviously kept booing him for all that time.
Yeah, so there was a couple of incidents which sort of started the booing saga. So one of them was how he pointed at that Pie supporter when she called him an ape when it was a game in Melbourne, I think.
Is the Indigenous round during
the
that
first
game
of Indigenous round. So did you remember that incident?
Yeah, so he was probably best on ground in that game. Swans had a great win over the Pies. Probably overshadowed the win that he kind of...
Yeah, so it was in the last quarter and he was dominating, and then...
The last few minutes,
he heard something about... Yeah, he heard she had called him an ape and pointed her out, and then the security guards came and escorted her out.
Did he point her out or did he point at the crowd? Because there's been a bit of, I guess, conjecture over that.
Sure, maybe at the crowd.
It's pretty hard to see, I guess.
Yeah, and
point someone out.
Exactly, yeah. And
I think he pointed in the direction, but
the way he did it sounded like he knew exactly who he was pointing at. So I think, do you reckon he had a right to call out or point to who said that slur?
Oh, 100%. I think if you hear the word ape, if you hear the word, I don't know, if you hear someone insulting your family or your kids or something like that, 100%.
Zero tolerance on racial abuse.
Well, that's what security is there for, and they escorted it out of the game after that. So,
and you saw the interviews after? Yeah,
well, that's one of the things that... There's a lot of, I guess, context placed on some of these events. That was one of them. So he held a press conference the morning after, and he actually...
Because he was distraught. He went to the rooms before the team came off.
Didn't celebrate the win. Eddie Maguire came into the rooms to console him. So, but in that interview, he actually mentioned 28 times not to blame that girl. She's 13 years old. We're not going to mention her name, obviously, but he said phrases like, "It's not her fault. I don't want this to be a witch hunt. She's innocent. I don't blame her." But I guess after that, he was kind of roasted by a lot of commentators for singling her out. But that's not the complete truth of the story.
Yeah, so the media sort of jumped on the defense of the girl. Yeah. Because, fair enough, she was like 13 and she doesn't know what she's saying. Yeah. And she probably didn't mean to offend her. Exactly.
Doesn't understand what that means.
But then they sort of demonized Goodes for as if he did the wrong thing. But even though he was saying, "Oh, don't blame her" and all that sort of stuff, so they sort of make Adam look like the bad person here, whereas he was
If it was a 40-year-old man, what would be the difference? Like, you think they'd demonize him Goods, or do you think they demonise the guy? They probably demonise the guy, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the media looking for a story, so papers.
Well, it happens a lot. So there was also the goal celebration that he did. Again, I think that was in the Indigenous round.
Well, yeah. That was first game again. Maybe I can't remember which year.
Yeah.
But
so what happened there?
So it was like an aggressive tribal dance he did after he kicked the goal. So he was near the Carlton section, and then he did it, and then he, at the end of it, he threw like a pretend spear into the crowd. So this is like something that he did to acknowledge some junior footballers.
Yeah, so again, that's a context. So those junior footballers, they've been performing that dance, I think in the docket sets in 2006. So they actually visited the Swans playing group during that week. So again, context, but
it was similar to the haka, if you guys know what that is. So it's the New Zealand dance. So Adam Goodes was doing his own sort of indigenous one, which is sort of do it before battle or in celebration. So he was, in this case, you can say that he was doing it in celebration. So because it was that aggressive, and people came out and said, oh, if Adam wants reconciliation and stuff, he shouldn't be doing an aggressive dance towards the opposition.
Well, you think
supporters?
We kind of not ran to. He did run. He ran towards the Carlton cheer squad or the supporters. Do you think that was fair, or do you think it was an overreaction? I guess
I think it's an overreaction. Commentators saying it was a bad thing. He shouldn't have done it because it's Indigenous round. So, if this dance, if it was like a celebration thing, which it was because it was after a goal, then I'm totally happy with him doing it. And this fake spear, I mean, like we've had people like, remember that Hawthorn player Mark Williams after he kicks a goal, he gets a pretend shotgun and shoots it to the crowd. Yeah, so what he didn't get.
He did.
We didn't.
He got criticised, but he didn't. Nothing compared to this.
He didn't get booed. Yeah.
No, he didn't get booed at all.
Like nowadays, like some players pretend to show bow and arrows and stuff.
Yeah,
like that, and they don't get criticised or anything. So I have no problem with that. And also, you know how Eddie Betts. So this is like a cultural thing, and then Eddie Betts and Stack earlier on this year, they did that handshake and they hugged it out, and the media came back, and I know it was a positive thing. Yeah. Like a smiling and hugging, but to defend that, the media was like, "Oh, it's just an Indigenous thing. It's what it's communities, what they do." So we're happy with that. But when Adam Goodes does it, even though it was an aggressive sort of dance, that we condemn it. It's like, come on, we have like, what do you call it? When you have two different.
Is it like a war or no? Like a team.
It was selective, sort of. Like we can,
Well, I think, again, with the Sydney Stack and Betts thing, there was only one commentator, Gary Lyon. He's probably the only one in the whole media that had anything negative to say. So, again, I mean, that spear dance thing, I don't think anyone's suggesting he's trying to jump the fence and and hurt people. I mean, I don't think he's ever been suspended at all in his career. Like, he's not a violent person. He's doesn't have a history.
So he's not like he was Barry Hall or anyone,
Yeah, exactly. So, again, so we'll move on to, I guess, the next question.
Table, we split your...
That's a sponsor later on. So I guess, why do people boo Goodes in your opinion? Do you think it's because he's Australian of the year?
Yeah, we had an interesting discussion with some friends over the weekend. So, and I think we both had valid points. So I think people that boo him, I know in this show they make him look racist and stuff, but there are several reasons why he got booed. So so some of the stuff is that he dives for free kicks and he slides in. He did, but other players dive as well. And according to statistics, he didn't even get that many free kicks for it. Yeah. And also, maybe the main reason is just because he's a champion player. Like he's pretty much almost probably the best Aboriginal player ever. And players from the past like Gary Buckley, even Gary Ablett,
they always got booed.
They would have. Yeah, they get booed. So champions get booed, and if they meet the general public find a slight thing to have a go at. They're gonna
jump on it.
Yeah.
So I guess.
What about you? Do you think?
Yeah, I think there's definitely. I agree with you. I think there's definitely different layers. The staging, I guess the fact that he's a gun, Australian of the Year, the fact that he was outspoken about a lot of things. He kind of pushed. I think he used the kind of Australian of the Year to.
It was. Do you reckon the media, every time he does something, the media shows it, and then people just got sick of seeing him in the media and sick of seeing him standing up for Aboriginal, So maybe like subconsciously people like stuff this. It's like, I mean, we might find it hard to understand because we're not
Aboriginal,
Aboriginal, and or even white. Like we're not.
Well, that's the other part of it. A lot of these commentators weren't Aboriginal, so they're kind of talking like how they feel, but they're not really acknowledging how Goods felt. And the fact that he used the Australian of the Year, I guess, the title to speak out against it. He kind of said the Constitution of Australia didn't recognise Aboriginals at all, and that's fake. He kind of said Captain Cook's that's fake because he wasn't the first person that landed in Australia. He kind of not trashed Australia Day, but he said Australia Day is a sore spot for a lot of Aboriginals too, which Australian people wouldn't like that. There may be a better way of him to do that, but he was pretty outspoken. So I guess you can.
Should they have waited after he retired to give him Australian of the Year?
Well, that's the thing. You wouldn't say no to it.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to be an activist as a footballer at the same. His football didn't suffer at all. He was still getting best on ground performances. And things like that.
I was gonna say because footy, everyone's got their team and they passionately support their team. So, I guess when he plays, you're either with him, with Sydney, or against him. So, as a footy supporter, I wouldn't boo him, but I wouldn't want him to have a good game when we play him and things like that. So, giving him the Australian of the Year, if they could have waited, then I reckon we'd be more open to accepting him and listening to him. But because he's a Sydney player, would be like, oh, we want to win against the Swans. Yeah. So, I'm not going to pay him much attention or respect him as much.
Yeah. Well, I guess the next, segments, the action the AFL and the clubs and the media took.
The lack of,
yeah, exactly. Well, I think, looking back, obviously I don't think they did enough, and they've publicly acknowledged that since then.
Yeah.
In a statement, I think all 18 clubs released jointly, which I think is the first time it's ever happened for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only, support I really saw in the film was when he took that indefinite leave break because of all the booing. The Sydney crowd stood up and applauded 7-minute mark of the third quarter because he wears number 37.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis Jetta did a goal celebration in tribute to him, and that was pretty much all, wasn't it?
Robert Murphy, I think, wore 37 for Toss of the Coin.
That's
maybe.
Right, yeah.
So was that after he took leave as well?
That was after he took leave,
so it took him to take leave for them to do
stand up. So there were a few commentators as well which were highlighted in the film. Andrew Bolt, Alan Jones, he actually didn't give permission for his statements to be made in the film. Yeah, so he put put a veto on it. I think that's the word. Eddie Maguire, Steve Price, Sam Newman, and you had a few good ones too.
Rita Pahani and Miranda Devine. Yeah, they were really racist.
Yeah, well, I think they were racist. Yeah, I think they were criticising Goods for things which I think went beyond.
Yeah, they were on the side where people are allowed to boo. Just because we boo doesn't mean we're racist.
Yeah,
which I get, but if you're not racist and you boo him and he comes out, takes leave, AFL tells us
should
not
stop.
to boo.
Yeah.
If you're still booing, that means okay, you're maybe not racist, but you're a jerk, or you're just uneducated, or
Robbo used the word. Mark Robinson.
Yeah, he looked really good in the.
Yeah, he actually came out. He came out really well.
Yeah, when if Robbo is saying the right thing, you're not on his, and you don't agree with him.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong side.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he used the words knuckleheads, which is
pretty much
similar to your line.
Racist or a knucklehead.
Yeah, just not agreeing. There's a few good quotes in there too. Waleed Ali said it's a bigger quote, but I guess the main part of it was if people don't know their place, we lose our minds. Kind of where Goods was being more outspoken and I guess not being quiet and just playing football. And then Gilbert McAdam, who's I guess one of the great Aboriginal footballers, says 99% of these people are non-Indigenous. So how are they experts on how we feel? So again, I think SEN Hutchie's trying to get more Indigenous voices in the football, which is probably good. I think the Margaret Footy Show is one of the a great football
show. Is that
show.
Croc Media?
Yeah, I think he's trying. That's one of his stances. I think trying to get more Aboriginal voice into football.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So we move on to, I guess, how the doco was received and its conclusion.
Yeah, I think it's a positive thing. I think it puts everything together, what happened in that 3 years into an hour and a half doco. So people that might have thought, we're booing him, it's not racist, or didn't think much of it, might watch it and they might...
Change their mind?
Yeah, they might change their mind, definitely. But I reckon on the other side, people will watch it and be like, "Nah, this is just bullshit," or
Yeah.
like they wouldn't buy it. They'll just think, "Oh, they're just trying to spin it like
Yeah.
it's a racist thing," even though we're booing him because he was just diving and sliding and things like that. Which, yeah, I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I know every team has Indigenous players and you support them. You love like Tippin Woody or Cyril Rioli. But the fact that is because Adam Goods is so outspoken and standing up and
Keep talking,
called ape and stuff like that. And I think as Australians, they just got sick of Adam Goods pretty much. Yeah,
always in the media, always saying something or something like that. So there's a Stan Grant movie coming out later this year, The Australian Dream. So that might, I guess, shed some further light on it. And we'd mentioned all 18 clubs had retrospectively said they didn't do enough as well. So I guess what moment surprised you in the film?
Just the fact that the booing didn't stop.
So it's 3 years. 3 years straight, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So your one was similar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Selwood for his high tackles and free kicks, like he used to get booed a bit as well, but not recently. Like there's been nothing about it. So
not to this extent where it's
he was
getting booed in Sydney home games.
Yeah,
that's good. Selwood doesn't get booed at Cardinia Park or GMHBA. So I think I agree. I think that's definitely my thing. That it lasted for 3 years. I thought it honestly lasted for a year and a half at the most, but 3 years is a long time.
So if it's 3 years, then there has to be greater than just diving or playing for free kicks underpinning that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think my opinion is I think there's definitely an element of racism there.
Yeah.
The fact that he's getting booed, took leave, still getting booed, got booed on grand final day when Sydney got smashed by Hawthorn.
How he's like outspoken and all that. I reckon it's a bit of that.
I think if he shut up, probably people would have stopped.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I don't know whether that's racist or just not, I guess, people conforming to your views of them.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see other people's opinion, maybe.
Yeah,
comment on our YouTube likes.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, another thing, I reckon the club should have done more to stand up for Goods. Don't you reckon?
There's 71, I think at least 70 Indigenous footballers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeddah was the only one that did something to stand up.
The AFL came out and said stop booing, but no one's going to listen to the AFL. AFL, we hate the AFL as an organisation, as football fans. So if the clubs came out, if like a Jack Zibble or Luke Hodge came out and did a video promo or whatever to all the fans just to respect Adam and all Indigenous people or whoever, I reckon fans would have listened to them more.
Well, the Hawks did a small promo, but that was, again, it was after he took leave, and by that stage probably the horse had bolted. It was too late to change.
I reckon the clubs regret it now. That's why they've issued apologies and stuff.
And even Indigenous footballers have said they should have done more and brought them all to tears, I guess, when they've watched the film.
Okay, maybe go to this.
Yeah, so...
Maybe the conclusion?
So...
maybe one before that. You know how this year they introduced crowd behavioural officers?
Yeah.
Do you reckon if they had them during this time, would it be a good idea?
I think it'd be a good idea, but you can't eject, half the crowd you can eject people for racist taunts for sure, but... Again,
might have deterred people from booing though.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. I mean, what's that? 5 years ago?
Yeah, they should have maybe done it then, not
now for no reason.
Yeah.
So I think conclusion for me, I think the main part of this is they're going to show it in primary schools, high schools, trying to educate the population, so we don't have another 13-year-old girl saying something like that or people saying things.
That's true. Yeah.
It starts with parents. It starts with uncles and aunties saying things just around the dinner table and people, I guess, following their example. So it's got to start from.
I think it's a small step, but if you spoke to Adam, he would say that they've got a lot more work to do. So I think it's a good thing he's done this. He's been strong enough to lead this.
Yeah.
It means getting criticised and getting booed, but I think it's definitely positive.
You reckon he'll end up doing the lap of honour because he
kind
of
rejected that? It's a good question to conclude this, but. Yeah, he did reject it in the fear of getting booed, but if one day he comes to that state where he's confidently can do it without knowing he's going to get booed, I think it's a massive positive.
Well, that's when we probably know that it's had an effect.
Yeah.
If he does that, so
exactly. If he gets cheered doing it, then I
Yeah.
think it'll bring a smile to everyone's face. Yeah. Okay, cool. That ends our Adam Goods discussion. So
Good time, 20
almost
minutes.
20 minutes. So we'll try to do the rest in about 10 or 15 minutes. So game reviews. Do you want to quickly talk about Essendon's win over the Crows?
yeah. So it's probably the best. I thought it was probably the best win of the season. So
Yeah, essentially locking in a top 8 spot.
yeah, well,
you
they're
could
2
say.
games
Yeah.
inside the 8 now. So
Yeah.
yeah, they probably sealed their final spot. They've won 4 in a row now. They were 5 goals down late in the first half, away from home. Kicked 12 of the last 15 goals. No Danaher, Fantasia, Devon Smith, Hurley, and Heppels on one
Yeah,
leg.
no, they're
so,
doing it without like a second string backline, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought a few things stood out. Sard and McKenna just having superb seasons. They probably should be in that 40-man All-Australian squad.
Yeah, best half-backs in the
Yeah,
comp,
well, I think
yeah.
Sard's probably having the
Combo
year-
at least.
Yeah, the year that Lewis Jetta had last year, but I think he's got that extra
Offensive,
rebound effect, yeah. And then McKenna, that dummy kick to himself, I think it was Riley Knight went around him, so that was unbelievable. And Jake String, I think, has turned his career around. He probably doesn't get enough credit, but he's...
If he keeps it up, I reckon All-Australian,
Yeah.
potentially, yeah. No, that was good win, so a chance of breaking their 15-year-old finals winning drought or something. So.
Yeah, if they win one, hopefully. But yeah, they
Yeah.
should be winning a final, hopefully.
So does that game tell you more about Essendon or Crows?
I think it tells more about Dons, but
Okay.
yeah, the Crows, I think they're
Shambles,
going to
isn't
make
it?
the 8 because
Yeah.
they got a pretty soft draw, but I think they're just going to be making up the numbers. They're
Okay.
not a finals quality team, I think.
Yeah. And I'll ask you one more question.
Yeah.
Do you think Eddie Betts should retire?
Yeah,
He
I
might
think
be
he's-
contracted for one more year, I think.
Yeah, I think he's on his last legs. Unfortunately, I think the end's coming
Quicker
pretty
than he-
quick.
yeah.
Pretty quick.
He does come quick.
He's
doesn't he?
kicked some great goals, but he's had a lot of down games. He's probably
9 possessions and 0 goals again this week.
he's probably in the team because of his reputation at the moment. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, and you watched the
Yeah,
GWS Pies game?
I watched the half and a bit, so yeah, it was just dominated in the first quarter. So GWS, they won it in the middle, got it in, and put the young Collingwood defence under pressure. So guys like Himmelberg, Cameron, Finlayson got at on the end of it, and pretty much kicked 7 goals or something to 1 in the first quarter. Pies midfield's looking really shallow at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't think
the
they're
best ever
Yeah, they're meant to be
midfield.
the best ever. But you take out Beams, Pendlebury's a bit injured, and Taylor Adams just got back. They're just finding that it's hard to win the inside ball. So whereas GWS had Taranto, Hopper,
Yeah.
these guys going through there and dishing it out to guys like Whitfield, and also Williams was thrown in there. So
Yeah, they've got more depth, don't they? Even without Cornelio
yeah,
and
they
Kelly
do. They
out.
do. Yeah, what Bartel said last week was right. They do have a lot of talent on every line. So
Yeah.
I thought throwing Williams in gave that drive that Kelly and Cornelio normally give. So yeah, that was really good. So Collingwood, pretty disappointing. The forward line is dysfunctional still. Their backs aren't against the wall, so maybe that's the only way they can win when their backs are against the wall.
Do you think their tall backs they're too thin down back?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with Darcy Moore not playing. Howe was back, so he did okay.
But he shouldn't be playing key back.
No,
should
he's
he?
more your
Yeah.
third tall, isn't he?
And Cameron, what best game of the season? Maybe individual game, 6 goals and 20
I
touches.
think he had another good one early in the year, but yeah, he's a freak. He'll win the Coleman pretty comfortably this year, I'd say. So, yeah.
So going to on the spot questions. So
Sponsored
sponsored
this
by
year?
So I watched The Lion King on the weekend. So
No, you did. How was it?
Oh, very good. Must
Good,
watch.
good.
You haven't watched it when we'll do a review of that. Maybe.
I've seen the cartoon, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's Timon and Pumbaa. So we know a few friends that were given that nickname, I think, back in high school. So
Yes.
yeah, so I think, I don't know who's Timon out of us, but maybe not. We're both probably similar size. So you
They weren't hyenas, I think. Especially you with that laugh. All right.
So I'll ask you first. You reckon there'll be any changes to the top 8 come finals time?
All right. Stupid question, Shanaka.
Stupid question.
Answer keeps changing it week to week depending on who wins.
It's settled now, surely.
I don't know. It's really hard. I find this question predicting really difficult nowadays.
Okay.
And I feel like the media I know they talk about it, and the media's really reactive, don't you reckon? Like last win, Collingwood win, and they're back. This year they get smashed, and I bet you I'll hear Collingwood, they can't win the premiership. So, but to answer your question, I would have said the Bulldogs yesterday, but now they're getting smashed by St
St
Kilda.
Kilda, yeah.
So I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe
Okay.
we can still make it.
Oh,
But anyway,
lost on the
do you
weekend.
think Port, they're struggling a bit? Probably looking unlikely now.
Yeah,
just because of the young list.
I think you can draw the line through them. I'll mention them later on. But
Yeah, okay.
I think, Butters, I think, is probably one of the few bright spots.
Yeah,
that
he hasn't
you
got a
mentioned
rising star nom yet. I don't
there's
think.
been a few players that haven't got it. So I think he's probably due this week.
So now, I think now it's the stage where they start giving it to players that you don't have to have the best week.
To acknowledge a good year.
Yeah, you just they give it to that. So I think we might miss out on that fifth one. I think we've got 4 at the moment. So
Okay.
Davies Juniak, I don't think he'll get one. But he's still going to be a good player.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, I do. So,
Which one?
maybe ask me first.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
one.
yeah. Oh, is that your one? Who are your tips for head coaching jobs at the Roos, Blues, and the Saints?
So I think Reece Shaw's, that's probably the certainty at the moment with Roos. I
Mm.
think Blues, I think Michael Voss will get that one.
Blues. Okay.
Yeah, I think
he had an interview.
Yeah, I think I was going for, what's his name? Paul Roos and David Teague, but I think Paul Roos is, I don't know, I don't think he's going to get back into it. And the Saints, I think Radham will get there. This was even before the match today. So
I reckon maybe just give Teague the Blues job and everything can
all
just,
the caretaker coaches.
remain, yeah.
Yeah.
Media would hate it, but
I think they need someone like a Roos with Teague. You can't just put Teague in there by himself. With
Yeah,
someone
it's
like
a
a
bit-
Fagan with him or...
Mhm.
Yeah, so now the umpiring blunder last night, so they've acknowledged that error with the
they've
Thompson
acknowledged
free.
it. I'm so surprised they acknowledged
Oh,
it because they rarely acknowledge mistakes.
Yeah, so
Oh.
so I guess the question's what should the AFL do to minimise umpiring decisions
Yeah, good
like
question,
that?
Shanaka.
That decided the game,
Yeah,
didn't it?
very good. Yeah,
Very
good.
good question.
Yeah, it is. I think just the interpretation of the rule,
Yeah,
because this rule pretty much it was given because a similar action
yeah,
is if it was officiated correctly, something similar could be correct.
yeah,
But the fact that McInerney dived a bit and it looked bad, potentially.
Great
it's
bodywork, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Looking back on it.
so you can't penalise a player for being stronger than your opponent
Yeah.
or having good bodywork. So I think the AFL needs to tweak the original rule to say
Yeah.
if you're stronger, then you can't expect the player to time it so perfectly that
Yeah.
he moves the opponent just as he is about to mark it. So
Yeah.
you should be able to do a bit of work in getting the positioning
Well, it's great
before.
technique, right? You're moving the...
Exactly, it's just
Play
something
under
you
the
got to
ball.
learn. It's just
Yeah.
1-on-1. So AFL sort of rewarding weaker players, and free kicks are really annoying, especially like these. There was one also earlier,
Yeah, there's a few
like
decisions
a
on there.
minute earlier, that was given to Ben Brown.
Yeah.
It was just a ruck contest, and McInerney was involved again, and he was standing his ground. Ben Brown likes to sort of take a few steps and jump at it and hit it
Yeah.
out. So he did that, but McInerney put his arm across it to
Yeah.
prevent Ben Brown from leaping at it.
Yeah.
And I think the way the rules are written, you can't prevent the other person from
Yeah,
going at the ball.
it's a free under the rules.
So yeah, exactly. But I don't like that rule either.
Yeah,
I'm like,
looks soft too.
yeah, just let the two players go at it. As long as one of them is not holding down the other person, should just be play on. So we can't win everything, and yeah, we probably got lucky. I mean, they probably got lucky
In that,
technically, but I think it sort of evened itself out. But I think the AFL definitely needs to be a bit more lenient and
Yeah.
reward strength and body positioning. Really, what do you probably agree?
Yeah, look, we saw it live. I thought it was a free at the time, but yeah, looking back, I think it's just good bodywork. I think, and the contact was pretty minimal.
Yeah,
It wasn't
and-
like he shoved him.
yeah, and these rules they're just encouraging players to dive and
Yeah. Well, that's
exaggerate.
That's probably the other fact. The dive should be the one that's penalised, right? They're trying to outlaw diving.
It's too
That should just
hard.
be a
It's
free,
too
right?
hard for umpires to see notice to dive.
Yeah.
Half
Everyone
of the
does it,
umpires
yeah.
might get it, half of the time they won't. So just get to the root of that rule and change it, because they've been fixing rules as like you're allowed to grab out of the ruck now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not to single out Lee Fisher, because he's the one that
He
paid
was,
the
yeah.
free, but he's an ex-player, so I guess ex-players should be the ones that have a better feel for the game.
Yeah.
But he's probably hampered by the way the rule's written, I think.
Quick note on just that female umpire that umpired. Yeah, she paid a free kick to Max Gawn. He was on the ground and the ball sort of fell, but he took it out.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind how she paid a free kick
Yeah.
against him because it was similar to dragging it in.
Yeah.
Commentators sort of had to go at her or how to go at the call saying he wasn't, but I didn't sort of mind it because I think she might have actually. It was the correct decision,
Yeah,
but
check,
and then Max Gawn stood up and he's like double her size and he was like talking to her. It's like, what's that for? Like not aggressively, but and I felt like, whoa, she must have a really strong character and personality to
she would
stand
be,
up and like be assertive. You could see in her face that she maybe looked a little bit like nervous or
Yeah.
scared. But no, good on her to like make the tough calls.
Yeah,
and-
you got to strengthen
yeah,
your
exactly.
convictions.
So no, it's a good on her. Keep it up, I reckon. Because
So-
no way I would have been able to like. I would have
Yeah.
changed my decision. Okay,
Yeah.
Max, I'll just ball it up.
Like what they do in the cricket.
Alright. We might go into hot takes. Try to squeeze this into
Yeah.
5 minutes.
So my one's time up for Hinkley. So I think if we don't make finals, I think he should, go. I think first 2 years are pretty incredible. He's turned the whole club around. I thought, before then, during Primus's reign, we were the first team to lose to the Suns. One of the first, teams to lose to GWS. Multiple 100-point beltings, huge debt, no members. We were, just a basket case of a side. But in the first 2 years, he, brought Port to finals.
He was really good.
Had some great finals wins away at the Pies and Freo and lost narrowly, I guess. We didn't go out in the finals in a smashing. We,
he had a
only
good
lost
start,
barely. So, the last 4 seasons since then, one final and for one loss. I don't think the players are responding to many. It feels a bit choco-like in the last couple of years of Mark Williams. Can't win back-to-back games. I think your opinion as well, obviously you want your one. So I think there's generally a time limit on how long, I guess, the
You
message
coach for-
resonate for a club. I think Brad Scott probably had the similar issue.
Yeah, he was there for
Potentially.
9 or 10. This was his 10th year. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes,
Message wears thin or just not
sometimes you
getting
get,
up for him anymore.
and you have your favourite players and the ones that don't, and it stifles development.
Yeah.
So is this his 7th year or something? 6? Maybe 6 or 7.
2013 was his first, so this would be his 7th,
Okay, cool. So maybe I'll give him one more, maybe next year, see how it goes.
Well, he's
next
contracted
year.
to 2023.
The pressure
so,
will come on halfway through next year if you guys are still the same.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talent on that list. So it is a young list. So
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, I think we expected to go backwards this year. Got 3 first-round draft picks, playing them every game pretty much. But look, we've beaten Eagles in Perth, beat top-of-the-table Cats, and hammered the Crows. But we're still 1 game and a percentage out of the 8. You got those 3 wins, you should make the top 8. Again, he's a great coach. I think he's a 56.
Maybe Voss is the problem. Get rid of Voss and the Carlton. See.
Maybe that's why they're trying to push him out.
Yeah.
No, he's got a 56% winning percentage. I honestly think he'd be a great candidate for the Blues or the Saints, but I don't see them letting go of him this year because he's still got 3 more years on the contract. But
3 more years.
2023, because when the
wow,
Suns chased him, we extended him for 5 years.
Okay, maybe
so-
next. No, I reckon the pressure will come on next year.
Yeah.
So if he makes finals next year, he'll see out 2021 maybe. But changing coaches seem to be doing the trick because Sydney and St Kilda are winning.
Yeah.
They were winning.
And the Saints today as well.
Yeah,
Might
yeah.
be a short-term thing, but
Yeah. Also, wasn't saved in our thing, but I want to quickly give. What's that thing? I'm grateful for.
oh yeah. Talk about your guy, Chris
Fagan, the Brisbane Lions coach. So. He didn't play AFL. He played in the Tasmanian League. So he was played
Like-
200 games, over 200 games over there.
Still a career.
Yeah, so he was the head of Hawthorn football department for 6 years when they won their premierships.
Yeah.
And he declined the Carlton and
did he?
Essendon
I
jobs
didn't know that.
before, when they were offered. And then I think a year or 2 later, the Brisbane Lions job came up, so he took that. So he has doesn't have AFL experience in playing, but he has that management experience
Background,
managing coaches and like staff and stuff like that. So he's sort of been successfully translate that into the coaching role.
Yeah.
So I've heard the players love him there, and he's got a good relationship with Luke Hodge, who he recruited up.
Yeah.
So just want to shout out to him to show you it's possible to not be a Nathan Buckley or Hardwick or whoever that has played premierships.
Well, do you reckon he's changed the coaching landscape? You see him on the bench a lot. You don't really see him doing much tactical. I think he's probably great tactically, but he's more of a, like you said, like a man manager.
Yeah.
Do you think he's changed the?
Potentially, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the Kangaroos and all the other clubs hunting for a coach go.
Yeah.
Will they go for a Chris Fagan type?
Yeah.
Or will they sort of go with the young coach? So, personally, I think I'll feel more comfortable going for like a Chris Fagan type, but they're probably rare to get. Yeah. There's not many around, so.
Well, Hinkley was one of them, I think, that had been in the system so long and never got a position. Phil Walsh as well.
Yeah.
But Chris Fagan's probably coach of the year, you'd say.
Probably, yeah. They've had a good run with injuries and their draw has been pretty good. But no, they're looking at a top 2 and you have to give it to him.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
For sure.
Alright, cool.
We've got a few shout outs this week. Clarko probably deserves one.
Who?
Another coaching masterstroke
Oh,
today.
yeah.
Beat the Cats.
Yeah, I don't
with
know.
the list he has.
Yeah, Lewis Mitchell played a good game, so I think he might be close to a rising star.
And O'Brien
So
had a great game too.
Yeah, and Warpool, so they're finding... The development's really good. So I was looking at the... just before I came, actually, the coaching list. So they have... Scott Burns is there. He's an assistant coach. Adam Uze.
Yeah.
Darren Glass.
Chris Newman as well.
Yeah, Chris Newman. So if I were the Kangaroos, I'd be really tempted to interview those guys.
Because all of them have done well.
Yeah,
Beveridge and Hardwick have won premierships under.
Just hold fire and Reece Shaw. We've got a tough run home. We've got West Coast in West Coast. Geelong, you guys in Marvel.
Yeah.
So, we got Collingwood and Richmond when they were out of form a bit.
Yeah.
So I reckon he needs to get a big score.
So wait till after round 23, you're saying?
Yeah, I know why coaches, they want to make the appointment early so they can sort of see what they have and prepare for trade, and which starts literally after September.
Yeah.
But just hold fire and
there's no rush at the moment. And then Darcy Burn-Jones, your guy, he's having a great season. And Carl Amon, I think they deserve a shout out because they've had unbelievable years in a poor performing side.
Yeah, they'll hopefully finish high in their best and fairest. And Carl Amon, he wanted to come home, didn't he?
Yeah, he should have gone. He probably would have gone last year, but he's probably been one of our best players. Any Roos players you want to quickly shout out?
Maybe Nick Larkey, he kicked a couple of goals. He's going to have postseason heart surgery as well, so he's got a heart condition, so hopefully that's all okay. But that's about it, I think. So
next week, I think we'll probably do injuries in the AFL.
Yeah, there's an article that was released a few weeks ago, so we might have a look at that. Okay, cool.
Next week. See you next week, guys.
See ya. Nice, good work.